And my glasses are all dirty. Test. Wow, that's very low. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, it was. I guess the mic wasn't close to me at first. Anyway, howdy, this is PaleRider, and welcome to my stream. I'm back with Ghost of Tsushima. Wow, I just can't get it straight, can I? And I'll be right into the game in a minute. I just need to do my YouTube setup. And I'll be right there.
Things will be fine. They have to be. I know.
Saving. Got to do one more copy paste save and then I'm done. Did you get a good sleep last night though?
I did.
Because I didn't bug. I was in here till like 3 in the morning. I was watching that British show Luther. Yeah. I watched like 3 or 4 episodes. It's pretty good. What am I doing? It's got some kind of stupid parts in it though. Just like any show though. I gotta stop doing that. I get nitpicky on shows. There was a part where there had some psycho killer that just walked around shooting cops just willy-nilly and shit, you know. Well, he did it on purpose, but he didn't have any remorse or anything, and at the end, Luther freaking confronted him, and he's like yelling in his face and calling him all kinds of freaking names, and the dude didn't shoot him. It's like, the fucking dude, that's what he's known for, is shooting cops in the face. He blew up a building with cops in it. He just wanted to kill a bunch of cops. And then Luther was just yelling at him and calling him names and putting him down and humiliating him, and the dude doesn't pull the trigger. I'm thinking, no, that's not going to happen in real life. That dude's going to freaking shoot his freaking brains all over the wall. Anyway, I'm done here. Let me, what did I just do? What did just happen? Oh, there we go. Shut down. Shut down my other computer. The clicking sound sounded like my chair about ready to break or something. I don't know what was that. Anyway, I'm here. My computer is not turning off again. That's like the 4th night in a row that it didn't turn off. No, I could see my computer. Well, I don't get it. It just does not want to turn off anymore. Last night I forgot to turn after, you know, I let it sit for a while, and I was gonna turn it off after about 5 minutes after it didn't turn off. And I didn't realize it until I was completely done with my stream last night and it was still on. And I just hit the reset button because I wanted to watch something on it. I think I'm done here in this. Yep, I'm done here. Okay, so I want to try to, damn it, I meant to get in here today. I played Fallout for a couple hours, and then I got off at 8, and then by that time I was too tired to come to, so I took a nap, and I didn't even think about coming in here. I wanted to go open up all this region here and here. I think I'm going to start off for just a little while doing that, and then I'm going to go down and do all the rest of these main quest stuff. We got one minor territorial thing and 2 big ones, and then a main quest here, and this has got to come up soon, and then there's going to be a main battle up here. But I bet you there's a couple more of these minor ones in some of these areas that I haven't been in. So first of all, let me go up to here, and then I'm going to save this for last, but I'll open up this area here, and then I'll go over here and open up this area. Okay, so let's go here first. I got that Bad Reputation song stuck in my head. I didn't even hear the song. I was just humming it. Yep. I was talking about it, telling Darcy about there's some Joan Jett documentary that came out like last year or something. And I guess she didn't see it. We were talking about Joan Jett, and then so I mentioned that she came out with that documentary. And then it's called the documentary's called Bad Reputation. So I started humming that song afterwards. Okay, hey, so this is the horse thing that's on all their ships. Mongolian horse. Mongolian horses are often armored as much as the Mongol warriors themselves. Their preferred breeds are relatively small but very hardy, capable of surviving in extreme conditions. Almost every Mongolian warrior has more than one horse, so they can swap fresh mounts as horses tire. Yep, that's pretty much what they were. They were horse soldiers. This is a kind of a cool fact that I might have mentioned it before because I just found out about it recently. Probably last year I heard about it. So horses in the United States came with the Spaniards. When the Spaniards first came over here, the conquistadors used them to go into South America and Mexico and Central America and southern United States area, California and Texas and all that area and Florida. And a lot of times when they went back, they would just leave their horses there, and the horses became wild and went up into the Great Plains area and stuff like that, big wild herds of horses. So the Spaniards are the ones who brought the horses here. That's not what I'd heard. That I already knew that. I've known that most of my life. But what I didn't know is that horses around the world, horses originated in the United States. Like, I don't know how many tens of thousands of years ago, before man stepped foot on the American continents, horses were here. And somehow horses migrated to Mongolia. They migrated to Mongolia and then throughout Asia, and then throughout the rest, I guess Europe and stuff after that. And I don't think they had too many horses in Africa, except for Northern Africa, maybe. Um, but they either completely died out here, or probably during the Ice Age or something. They completely died out. I don't know exactly when they died out, but they have artifacts of ancestors of the modern horse in North America from 100,000 years ago or something. Bones, relics. But no relics that date between that time and the time of the Spaniards. So it's kind of trippy, I think, that horses actually were originated in the United States. Llamas and alpacas and stuff, they're still indigenous to the United States, or to South America, I guess. And they're ancestors of the horse also. And camels are ancestors of the horse. They're all the same original breed, or I don't know what they call it, subspecies or whatever. I don't know, I just thought that was really cool that horses originated on our continent, but then went to the other countries and then disappeared here. Kind of weird. Anyway, Yatka is a traditional Mongolian plucked zither, closely related to the Chinese goose hing. The strings are commonly made of horsehair and goose gut, though the number of strings can vary. That's more like a modern sitar than those lutes that those guys are playing in the game. Ertu, a system of couriers and relay stations used extensively by the Mongol Empire. Genghis Khan, in particular, gave special attention to expanding this network, as it was instrumental in providing information and supplies to the fast-moving Mongol army. Yeah, I've seen all the rest of these. Yep. All right. Well, let me check on the map where I'm at. So I just need to go this way. You know what? I'm going to go straight down here. And I need to put on my traveler gear. That way it'll open it up better. What do I need to upgrade this? I need a lot of supplies. Okay, so we're going that way. It's somebody way over there. Something's over there. Oh, it's just deer. Yes, deer. Stand up. So anybody that watches me regular knows that I get kind of political and stuff. But I was just thinking about this earlier. How my politics has changed over the years. I used to be all about, well, I kind of still am in a way, about freaking injustice. Okay, so what people would call a social justice warrior is people that see injustices and want to go after them. But the difference between real justice and this freaking crap that they're talking about now. What the hell? Is that a bad guy? Yeah, it is. is common sense. The shit that they talk about, that social justice warriors, SJWs, talk about, is a... Let me see if I can do this time.
Fight me!
Damn, I did it again! I don't know why I can't freaking get this right anymore. I think it has something to do with being in certain areas. Can I just get the right thing out now? Now I can't see. It all went back. Now I got the wrong fucking stance. Anyway, what SJWs see, what my opinion of what SJWs see. Damn it. I got brute dude. So I got this the new brute one. Which one's that? Let's see how it works on this bastard. Works pretty good. Die. Anyway, I ain't gonna find the other dude that I killed, am I? Wait, is that him? Yeah, nothing.
I need your help.
Oh, hey. So,
You'll be free soon.
this dude again. Now go home to your mommy and stay there this time.
And stay safe.
I'd be honored if you had this.
Well, I need to turn this up a little bit because I can't hear what they're saying at all. Darcy's cooking something right now. It's at one of those air fryers, and they're a little bit noisy. Anyway, I don't know why I can't put it right. I can't explain it right. People probably, you guys, whoever's listening or watching this later, probably know what I'm trying to say. But these social justice warriors nowadays see things that aren't there. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. They see things and call out injustices that aren't real. And I think most of it has to do with a Marxist idea. There's something going on in the schools lately. Too many people with Marxist ideas are dominating our education system. Damn, I didn't have the right bows out or arrows. Damn it, missed. This over the last 20 or 30 years, kids have been indoctrinated into this belief, this guilt trip belief that everything about the United States is wrong. They don't. The history that they teach is so wrong. It's not even funny, man. In my opinion, at least. And that's what is dominating all the social justice now. When I was a kid, when I was younger, I believed in justice. I believed in, well, shit, I was from the generation that came up with the heyday of comics, which was the 60s. They had comics as far back as right before World War II, and during World War II they got really popular. Damn dog. But growing up on Superman, Superman, dude, that freaking dog, man. I don't know what's going on. Hold on a minute. What's your problem? Come in here. Here. Hi. Hush. Dang, dog was driving me nuts, man. I was trying to freaking talk, and I couldn't concentrate because she just kept barking. Bark, 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 bark. Hope he didn't think I was rude by going out there and... I was just going to bring her in here and let you sit out there and talk. Anyway. I talked to that guy one of the first days we were here. Anyway. I need to change gear again. I wish there was a faster way to do this. I think there probably is, but I don't know what it is. Well, there's 5 of them, huh?
Challenge me!
These guys are cheapy bastards, too. Should be able to kill them. I haven't been able to get my timing down right. There we go. Yeah, that worked. Anyway, what I was trying to say before is that I grew up watching old reruns of Superman when I was a little kid, man. They were reruns. There was reruns of Superman on Sunday morning, Saturdays and Sunday mornings after the cartoons. They'd show these old serials with George Reeves playing Superman, and truth, justice, and the American way. So I grew up, and leftists, especially communists, will argue that a lot of the stuff that I grew up with, I think this is why they tend to hate. If somebody calls an older person a boomer, they're usually freaking got some kind of Marxist ideas, because they don't believe in people having wisdom of age, you know. What's the other one? He's long gone. Anyway, the whole point I was trying to make is I was thinking about this. I wrote a song back in the 80s. I used to write a lot back in the 80s. I wrote a song called Stand Up and Be Heard. And if you listen, I was thinking about the words. I can't remember them exactly right now. I got them written down. Actually, they're on my computer. You know, old file, old folder from way back. But all of the words in that song could be said to come from like a social justice idea. But the ideas are on the surface, they're exactly the same as the SJWs nowadays. On the surface, equal rights, no racism, no, you know, it has a song or a line in there that says fight over skin pigmentation. That's one of the lines, because pigmentation actually rhymed with the line before that, which was I can't remember right now, but it was about fighting against oh shit.
Fight me!
This guy's a history. Anyway, this... That it was actually activism, you know. It was trying, and it was my way of trying to get people to say something, stand up and say something for all the crap that you see, you know. But now that I think about it, it's pretty much the same kind of things that people are talking about now, but the feeling is different. It's weird. Okay, like I said, I think that they have the right ideas, but they're going about them the wrong way, and they're doing them for the wrong reasons. I think a lot of the time these freaking, like I said, I was trying to explain earlier, is that I think instead of it coming from a sense of actual real American justice, it's coming from a Marxist way, just because, maybe not even knowing it, because of the way the last 2 or 3 generations have been raised in a society that is getting more and more anti-American. And this sounds bad because, okay, I also was born right at the end of the McCarthy era, which had, it was all about congressional hearings on anti-American activity, in other words, communism. But it went too far. It had the right, I think even that had the right idea, but it went too far, and it just labeled everybody that had any association with anybody that had anything to do with communism as commies, you know, and blackballed them. I don't even believe in blackballing a freaking full-fledged commie, you know. Let them believe what they want to believe. They just shouldn't be allowed to spread it to children. I was watching a video today. I think it was Sargon of Akkad. Found there were some leaked documents. I guess he found these leaked documents from somebody. I don't know where he actually got them, and it might be a common thing now. Maybe it's a big thing now. So I don't know. These documents that he showed were from Black Lives Matter, the inner core of Black Lives Matter, the leaders of Black Lives Matter wrote this whole extensive curriculum for our children. Are these guys enemies? How are they fighting against each other? Who are these guys? They're fighting against each other. Must be bandits fighting against Mongols. I don't know what's going on. Oh, God, is somebody else? Damn it. Anyway. I guess they were all part of the same group, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, the documents are, I guess, leaked documents from Black Lives Matter, from the core group, the main head office or whatever, or the main leaders or something, where they made a whole curriculum of how they want to indoctrinate all elementary school kids into this cult. That's basically what it is. It's indoctrinating them into believing that all white kids are bad. Yeah. That's going to treat white kids like they're bad, and it treats it teaches them how to be activists, to stand up and fight against the oppression that the imagined oppression that they think that's going on. You know, yeah, there's a certain amount of oppression, but oppression in itself is kind of a Marxist freaking idea. And it's degrading that to be oppressed in a in the old world, when you had kings and serfs and lords of the land and shit like that, oppression was an actual thing when you had a tyrant king and overlords that treated the population bad, which usually didn't happen. It was very rare, and if you read any old history, it talks about it a lot. because that's the kind of stuff that that sold books and made people popular, is if they sensationalize things, just like the news media today. They want to sell a sensationalized version of what really happened, so and pit people against each other, so that they could sell papers, you know, or make themselves famous. The more scandalous and crazy the event is, the more they can make a name for themselves. So it's my belief that history was made up of a lot of average events and good events, and the only ones that we hear about are the ones that were either really good or really bad. And then you get timelines of certain things, like, you know, and most of it's war. I always wondered that when I was a kid. Why is most of history that we learn in schools all about war? What war happened at what time? What kind of armistice happened? What caused the war? It's because that shit sells, and that actually is a bigger.
Draw your blades.
Damn it, I did it again! Every freaking time! Damn, now this was going to be a bad one. Where's that other freaking... There he is. Damn! I tried to freaking roll out of that guy's way. And I hit the dead guy. Shit! I'm screwed. I gotta get this frickin' little fucking ninja bastard. I gotta change on every one of these to a different stance. And I gotta get the right guy while I'm in the right stance. No! Shit! Can't get the frickin' right stance. This guy. No, let's get the big guy last. Damn! Well, that really works good against some guys if you can get it timed right. Was there somebody else? Anyway. I think the whole point I'm trying to make is that I have maybe a singular belief. I really have not talked to anybody that completely believes this. I'm sure there's people out there that believe it too and understand it. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's ever thought of it. that his history is made up of sensationalized history, written history, and verbal history is made up of sensationalized stories. The more sensationalized, the more we know about it, the more it carried on. So I seriously believe that most events in history, most things were just normal things, and with a lot of good in there, people being good to each other, sometimes not being so good, other times being good, but just average. And most leaders of countries, it was in their best interest to treat their people good. Because if you really think about it, and think about all the things that you know about history, things that you hear about in history, most bad rulers came to a bad end. Louis XVI, that was the ruler of France right before the French Revolution, came to a very bad end, lost his freaking head.
Hey.
Tsar Nicholas II, ruler of Russia right before the Russian Revolution, came to a bad end. Ooh, cut them all down. This guy's shield. Caligula Caesar, one of the worst rulers of, or emperors of Rome, freaking came to a real bad end. Tiberius Caesar, who was the ruler right before him, his uncle, killed himself because he had freaking syphilis, and he was a bad freaking person. Nero,
You're going to be all
he was crazy. Look, he came to a bad end.
The best day of my life, my lord.
Be careful out there.
I'd be honored if you had this.
I don't know. I just believe that it was in the best interest of the leaders of countries and the leaders of any people. It's in their best interest to treat their people good. So they're more of a benevolent, the old saying, benevolent ruler. They talk about King Arthur as being a benevolent ruler. That's somebody who really, really cared about his people and did whatever he could to show that. To be a Marxist, you have to not believe that. You have to believe, because Marx actually said, I can't remember the exact words, but I'll kind of paraphrase it a little bit, that he said that history is made up of class struggles where the oppressors ruled and the oppressed suffered, or something like that. That he said there is no history but that. That he doesn't believe in nostalgia. He didn't believe in sensationalizing history at all. He just believed in people with power taking advantage of everybody else. And I don't believe that's true. If you're a Marxist, you have to believe that, or Marxism doesn't make sense. If you don't believe that, it really doesn't make sense at all. And I don't believe that. And that's what they're kind of teaching our kids in school now. And getting back to that Black Lives Matter curriculum, that's exactly what they were going to try to teach. It's straight out Marxism. You can hear it in the tone of it. It's straight out Marxism which, except for one catch, actual Marxism, which Marxists are right. It's never been done right, because most of the communist countries end up getting a ruling class and tend to oppress their subordinates, or the people that they're ruling. Eventually, even Castro, who acted like and looked like he was living in poverty just like the rest of his country, he was freaking living in mansions, and eating high off a fucking hog, while half of his country was just average. Nobody was... Oh, shit! Oh, shit. Oh, God, why not? Come on! Sometimes these things just don't work right. Oh, fuck. Where'd he go? There he is. I don't know where the third one went. Look at all the flowers. Anyway, in Marxist society, wow, look at all the flowers. There's not supposed to be any class. It's nobody has any class. It's supposed to be a system where everybody... They say not equal outcome, but equal opportunity, which is what we already have. We already have equal opportunity. But they say not equal outcome, but I believe differently, that there's no way that... Oh, shit. There's no way that Marxism could work at all, even if it could, even if it was tried right, it couldn't work at all without some kind of an equal outcome. In other words, redistribution of wealth on a periodic timetable, because if too many people got wealthier than other people, then you'd still have that oppressive thing that they're talking about, because people that are in other words, you can only be as good as your biggest fuck ups in the country. Everybody has to live at the level of the biggest fuck up, because the biggest fuck ups will end up having kids, and their kids will live in poverty. And then you'll start a whole nother chain of poverty, a cycle of poverty. So you would have to freaking make sure that
Face me!
You could do something about that, and that's where the equal outcome comes in.
Yeah!
Which means you can only be as good as your worst freaking person. Income-wise. Anyway, I know I've been talking about that a lot lately. It's bugging me because I keep seeing all this stuff and all these riots that are going on, and then the media making them out to be peaceful protests when they're definitely freaking riots. They just had one the other night in, pretty sure it's either Portland or Seattle, where hundreds of people showed up at this one location and just started tearing apart the businesses. Somebody even brought a fucking U-Haul to haul away all the loot. And this just happened. And this is happening every freaking night in these cities. It's people that are out for themselves, and they're just causing chaos. And that definitely was somebody that was taking advantage of the situation. Probably had nothing to do with Black Lives Matter.
Using that as a cover to go and just rip people off.
They say, well, all these protests are going on and all these things are going on anyway. Why don't we just make
and fight.
Make some freaking money doing this by taking a U-Haul into freaking high-end, some high-end freaking part of town, which that's what it was. It was some high-end part of town. I can't remember which town it is now. Oh, it was freaking Chicago. Place called Miracle Mile. I've heard of that. Mole Mile. I don't know what they call it. They call it something different now, but it used to be called the Miracle Mile, which is the touristy area and the high-end area where they freaking get all the tourists to come in and spend all their money. So they have all these high-end shops and touristy trap shops, but so they got a lot of good stuff, you know. And so these people just use that opportunity to go in there, or, you know, used it as a cover to go in there and freaking steal as much shit as they can, and then hopefully they got surveillance of that U-Haul, and that should be easy to track. But yeah, so now they got probably thousands of dollars worth of stuff they can freaking sell on the black market, you know. Maybe tens of thousands, depending on which shops they hit. There's where my marker is. But yeah, it's just, I see all this stuff, and it kind of sickens me that all this shit is going on. That the American dream is going to be dead. Which a Marxist will tell you that's bullshit. American dream. But it's a thing, man. Here's the American dream. If you are poor,
who will fight?
I should have killed that guy off first. Oh, hey, I didn't even disturb those guys. So if you're poor, this is what the American dream is. If you're poor or just middle class, lower middle class, if you work hard, if you're creative at all, innovative, can figure out a way to do it, you can have anything you want. You can become, if you worked hard and and was dedicated to sports, you could become a freaking professional athlete and be famous if you're dedicated and you're a little bit talented and work hard at it. You know, some of these fucking actors aren't talented at all. And look at them. Look at freaking Keanu Reeves. That dude, he's good, but he doesn't really act, you know? Look at freaking John Travolta. That dude right there is probably, I don't know, he never really was a great actor. Look at freaking Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal was like the worst actor, period, ever. The dude that played Billy Jack, I guess his name was Billy. No, I don't know what his name was.
I'm right here.
He didn't know how to act. There's so many freaking people out there that have no clue how to act, but they had a gimmick and they worked really hard. And they became famous. But that's it. It didn't take a lot of talent. What it took is hard work, learning what works, learning, talking to people, learning how to work the system. You know, you can't do that in Marxist world. You can't live in a ghetto or something and then just study and become a freaking rocket scientist. You know, really just don't have that kind of opportunity. I mean, maybe in some Marxist society, utopian society, that seems like it could be possible. The problem is that you lose some of the motivations. This is why a country like the United States couldn't work under communist rule, is because it loses too much of the driving force and the motivations behind what makes us, you know, what makes the American dream. The opportunities that you get because the biggest problem is to have something like that work. You have to give up some of your freedoms, and like I've heard this a million times from other Marxists and stuff, is that you don't have complete freedom now. That the government still regulates you. But the truth of that is the United States regulates us the least of any other place in the world. The United States has the least regulations, has the least taxes, has the least stifling. Yes, we're not perfectly exactly free, because that would be anarchy and chaos. Go around and freaking steal and kill whoever you want anytime you want and do whatever the fuck you want. That's pure freedom, and that's anarchy. Oh, fuck. Where'd you go, bastard? Out of anywhere else in the world, though, we have the most freedom. Maybe not complete freedom, but we have the most freedom. We have freedom. We have a relative amount of freedom. Freedom to do whatever we want as long as it doesn't hurt other people. And the more progressives that we get into politics, the least, the more freedoms we get taken away. I didn't realize that when I was younger, but it's true. To get somebody to comply to laws that don't make sense in the first place, you have to regulate it. Because people naturally would do other things. And the more laws we get that are just nonsense laws, like what's the sense in throwing somebody in prison for doing drugs? There is absolutely no sense in that. There's maybe for selling the drugs, for manufacturing drugs, because that put in the, a lot of people that manufacture drugs put
Looking for me?
ingredients in that are harmful to people. So they're actually hurting other people. I had the wrong stance. And drugs were not illegal until the last century. Somebody who was it? Oh, wow, that last place that I freaking fought these guys had a box, and I don't think I looted it. Anyway, it was Hearst, William Randolph Hearst. So, in the early 20th century, he owned up most of the media, written media outlets. And that was pretty much how you got your news back then. There wasn't TV. There was silent movies. And then other movies came into play during his lifetime. But the biggest, the majority of media came from written newspapers, and he owned almost all of them. And he early in his career, he realized that it wouldn't cost him as much if he bought out a lot of the paper manufacturers, so he can get cheap paper and save himself some money. But there was also hemp paper manufacturers back then. He and his media company is the ones that came out with that freaking movie called Reefer Madness. I don't know if anybody's seen that. It is hilarious. It is... is completely anti-pot. Makes anybody that smokes weed out to be a sexual deviant and insane. It's really funny. Anybody that smokes weed is completely insane and sexual and So he came out. They came out with that movie and distributed it to the schools and everything else, trying to show the dangers of drugs. Got the government on board. Got the governments to outlaw pot, and because they led to harder drugs, and then they outlawed all those drugs too. Mostly during Prohibition, they started outlawing all that stuff too. And I think Reefer Madness must have came out right after that. So because they didn't think that pot was that hard of a drug. During Prohibition, they thought everything was hard. And that was a bunch of leftists also. They came up with all that ideas. Leftists of their times. That way. But yeah, it's pretty crazy that how all that stuff came about. So what I'm really getting at there is that the government shouldn't have that kind of control over us in the first place. And that's why the United States is set up the way it was, is so the government couldn't get that kind of control over us. Fair. First shot, right in the head. And certain politicians were able to bypass that stuff and get it into law. Woodrow Wilson was one of them, the early ones, in the starting of the last century, that really made a lot of this shit happen. Notably, and probably debatably to some people, but I think most people might agree that Woodrow Wilson was one of the worst presidents we ever had. Andrew Jackson probably being a close second. But I completely lost my point now. So many of these dudes around everywhere. I'm just going along the... It seems like some of these areas don't open up like the other ones. I need to go more inland.
Hey, knock it off.
Get off, SpongeBob. SpongeBob Pooty Pants. Shit going on down here. I'm gonna have to change my shit. And I'm gonna ignore these guys. Yeah, I think my main point about all that is, like I said before, is that all the shit that's going on, it's scary, man. Some of the freaking videos that they're coming out with is showing. Okay, I've been alive for 61 years. And I lived through the freaking 70s, 60s and 70s protests. And they were actually kind of an exciting time, and people had good reason to be protesting. And they never, well, a couple times they got pretty bad, but it would only happen like every once in a while, like Kent State massacre, the Watts riots in 1965. There's a couple fringe groups that blew up some places here and there in the early 70s. Hey, dude. Isn't that the dude I keep rescuing? No, different guy. Same clothes, different guy. But nothing has ever been this crazy. In 61 years that I've been alive, nothing has been like this. And it's over nothing. Well, it's kind of something a little bit. Police brutality. Yeah. It happens. Police are only human. They should be held to a little bit higher standard than everybody else, but not held to a freaking standard of a god or something, you know, where they have to be perfect. You know, even most gods in most cultures are not perfect. Only the Christian God is supposed to be perfect. Well, Christian and Jew. I guess Jewish, well, Christian, Jewish, and Muslim is the same, supposedly the same God, but in a lot of it, even Catholics kind of look at God as being kind of a vengeful person, which I don't think would be considered a perfect God if they're vengeful. And the wrath of God, you know, wrathful and vengeful and all these bad attributes, you know. So there's a whole town here that I don't have on the map. There we go. That's why I believe in the Judeo-Christian God, but I don't. It's almost like it's a different God, you know. Because I don't believe that God could be vengeful and spite people. Anyway, I just haven't seen this happen like this, and it's crazy. This is going on 2.5 months that they've been having these riots, and like I said, it's over police brutality, which is a known fact throughout time that people in authority have been a little bit brutal, but all in all, the police in most Western countries, especially some places in Europe like Britain, they don't even carry guns. They can probably swing a mean billy club, I guess, blackjack, but they don't even carry guns. Which that's another funny thing about that TV show I'm watching, Luther. God, some of the crap that they get into, going up against armed freaking perpetrators without guns. What kind of fucking crazy job is that? How could you even be a cop inside a system like that? It makes you appreciate the freaking cops in the United States a little bit more after you watch that. And it also does show that there's a little bit more humanity in their actions and stuff, but how much of that can be believed? It's only a freaking TV show. But I'm sure that they have a little more humanity. They have to do things a little bit differently than us. They can check out guns. If the show is being honest, you can go in and check out a gun, but you're completely responsible for it, and it is strict for the cop to even check out the gun. You know, you have to like go in and say, I'm going to do this, blah, 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 and you have to give a good reason. And if they don't think it's a good reason, they'll say, hell no, you're not getting the gun. But,
Good day to you, my lord.
I guess if they're going up against a known person with a gun, I think a lot of times they'll just, it seems to me, at least watching that show, I don't know how it really is, but I was trying to imagine what it would be like in a situation like that. I think a lot of times they come up with alternative situations where they won't need a gun, or they have special like kind of SWAT units that'll deal with it, you know, and those people are armed. They'll send in their special unit to take care of the situation, and the average cop doesn't, which kind of actually kind of makes sense if the cop, if being a cop wasn't so dangerous in the first place, maybe you could have special units just to handle stuff like that. I don't know. But anyway, the whole Black Lives Matter thing is based on the fact that they think that black people are being mistreated by the cops more than the white people are. And more than any other race, apparently. In the area that I grew up in, I'm sure that the freaking Mexicans are treated worse than any other race by the cops. And the reason why is because of what demographic is committing the most crime. It has nothing to do with race, unless you want to believe the Marxist bullshit. Has nothing to do with race. Has to do with poverty. People that live in poverty, whether it's their own fault or not, tend to... That's not even right. People that live in poverty, you have two different types of people that live in poverty. One is for, I guess, cultural reasons. I don't want to say culture. That's not even the right word. It's if you grew up that way, you are automatically in the situation as a kid, and it's harder to get out of it. That's one reason that somebody's in poverty. The other reason is for their own stupidity. If they were heavy into drugs, of course they're going to freaking use all their money to get drugs. Which leaves out them being able to save up any money, because every penny's going to go, not every penny, but a lot of it's going to go to drugs. So people that are addicts, even if they didn't start out that way, end up being poor unless they get help, or unless they have rich families that bail them out left and right over and over again, which happens also. Or not even rich families. You have somebody that will put up with it. Okay, I've already been here. Somebody that'll put up with it and bail you out. Yeah, that could be a poor family, actually, that has people that are, that's what they call enabler in AA or NA or Al-Anon or any of those programs. They call them an enabler, is a person that will let you just totally destroy your life and enable you, you know, by, for some freaking reason, they're letting you do it, and sometimes even helping you. And I've seen that happen before. You have somebody that's a total freaking drug addict, but then you have some other people that are just like weekend warriors, weekend partiers or something. They're not going to freaking get the total drug addict to stop, because on the weekends they want to go party with the dude, and that dude always has drugs. That's an enabler of a different kind. But anyway, so when you have poor people, you have either people that are born into it and it's hard to get out, or you have people that caused it themselves with bad decisions. And sometimes just bad luck. Or you have a third, actually you have a third type. People that do it by choice, that don't care about all that. They just want to live a simple life. Go off the grid, maybe live up in the hills like my dad. He just wanted to get away from everything. Got tired of the freaking bullshit. I was going the wrong way this whole time. But, okay, so what I was getting at anyway is that the reason I don't really actually know the reasons why. Well, I kind of do know why the reasons why certain demographics are more growing up in poverty more than others, and a lot of it has to do with inner cities. When you live in rural areas, you have different, you have poor people that live in rural areas, but they live a lot differently. They live a lot better than the poor people that live in inner cities. Because you are able to go out and get your own food if you need to. You look at life differently. And you actually try to help out each other a lot more. At least people used to. When you live in an inner city, you don't have a lot of choice. Jobs are more scarce because there's more people competing for the same jobs, especially the non-skilled jobs. If you have some kind of a skill, it's easier for you to find work. But if you're non-skilled labor, you have a lot of people competing for those jobs. And so you're more likely not to be working. And that's probably the biggest thing that causes people to be poor in the inner city, to live in poverty. And black people tend to live in inner cities. I don't know what completely the reason. I think they might feel safer. Because of just a cultural thing, because of what happened in the past. You know, there's strength in numbers. And especially if they came from the South, they're less likely to trust other races. So they want to be around their own people, and I don't blame them for that. So that, but the thing is that puts a lot of black people in the inner city, and then they become poor because that's just how inner city living is. Unless you're skilled, unless you have some kind of a marketable skill, you're more likely to be poor. So I guess there is a fourth kind of people that are poor. As you can tell, I'm kind of just spitballing. A lot of this stuff is stuff that I've always think about. I'm constantly thinking about stuff like this, or a lot of times when I'm not thinking about my hobbies. Because I really care about the human condition. I care about how people live and react to things, and how things react to them. I think that all people deserve dignity and deserve to live in a decent manner. I wonder what would happen if no, I'm not even going to mess with these guys. Which way am I going anyway? Almost there. It's that way. So I always wonder what would make life better for people. And actually, that's kind of the way that Marx started out, Karl Marx, as he was trying to think of how to make life better for people. He came from a different place than I do, though. It's that he actually was rich elite growing up. And after that, he was poor by his own reasons, by his own hand. Just like I was saying, he made bad decisions, poor decisions. He overindulged himself in stuff and became poor. Coming from a rich family, he became poor.
Face me!
From stupidity. Oh shit! How come it's always these guys? It's the guys. Can't see. Anyway, I guess you call that kind of a hobby too. Is just thinking about shit like that, trying to spitball things, trying to figure out why people are the way they are. Try to understand why people get in the situations they're in. Okay, I've been there before. Okay, so I need to go back this way. So, going back to I guess that's the original thing that brought all this up, that made me start talking about this, is that the reasons why they're having these protests, what started the protests anyway, is the sense of injustice for black people at the hands of the cops. And I don't think it's injustice. I think that there's some bad things that happen.
Who will face me first?
Because of some bad cops or just situations. I don't think it's any more likely. I don't think it's any more or any less likely for people to get killed by cops or get mistreated by cops in most places. It's not any more or any less likely for them to get treated, anybody to get mistreated by cops that are in poor neighborhoods. And it just happens that more black people are in them inner city neighborhoods. It's not the cops' fault. It's not the people's fault necessarily either. It's just one of them things. But I would say this for sure, that there's never been another place or another time in history where there's been more consideration by cops and by authority figures. Because they know they're under the microscope. They know that the slightest thing that they can do can be misinterpreted. They also know that they have a freaking dangerous job and they need to protect themselves, or their freaking sons and daughters are going to be without a father or a mother. And there's just as much animosity towards cops of color than there are white cops, because then they start, then these groups will start saying it's because they're in a white society. Of course we're in a white society. This whole civilization that we live in is based on Western civilization, which has predominantly been white people. Oh God, bear, where? Oh shit. has nothing to do with white supremacy. Most white people never thought they were superior than any other race. Maybe in the beginning when they first started running across other races, when it started being more, you know, widespread that we're starting to run across other races, both races had their own superiority issues. I'm sure the first time a Chinese or Oriental culture ran across a white person, and it actually shows that in some movies that we watch, and some history books, and that they thought they were superior than us because they thought we were barbarians. For one, Japanese, when they first ran across the white race, they thought we were barbarians. They definitely thought that they were more superior than us. And they were in some ways, but we were superior in some ways. And it wasn't nothing to do with our skin color. It was more to do with our cultures. But yeah, ever since all this stuff started happening, it's just all this stuff just goes on and on and on in my head. It's completely baffling to me. So I'm trying to figure it out. Why anybody would think the way that these after it goes back to this old saying. Those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. This one dude supposedly said it before Winston Churchill, and it's not really even clear if Winston Churchill actually truly said it. It's rumored that he said it. But that all goes back to that. Damn it. Yeah, that's good enough. It's that humans as a species has gone through a lot. And it seems like when things start getting better, we lose understanding of why it's getting better. And try to come up, and what baffles me the most is these groups that can't see that it's got better, that how much better it's actually got, that as a freaking species, we should be beyond all that. We should be beyond the freaking ignorance to believe, to stereotype anybody. After all we know, especially after the internet came out, and this is my biggest freaking thing, my biggest problem with everything that's going on right now, is before the internet, people had an excuse to be freaking bigots and stupid and ignorant about others. It's because they just didn't know, especially before during segregation, and I know that a lot of people think that segregation was a systemic thing, that it was done by the governments, things like that. But no, it was self-segregation. Most people chose to be with people of their own culture, and they still do, and they've always have. But since the internet came out, we have learned so much more about other people. Yay! Got 2 points. I can actually use them now. I was saving them up. We can, if we try, we can look up other cultures and look up their beliefs and the things that make them tick, and actually understand other cultures better now than we could in the past. We can look at every culture has good and bad. And this is the thing that a lot of leftists don't understand, because they just think that, oh, the whites are so bad and everybody else is so good. I know that's oversimplifying it, but we should know better than to stereotype people anymore. That's my whole point, is that we... Damn it, I missed. Got 1 out of 3. Damn. That sucks. And I used up a lot of arrows. But like I said, we know we can see other cultures. We can understand other cultures. Now we have access to learn about other cultures. We know as a people, at least a lot of us do, that there is good and bad in all cultures. We know that nobody's perfect. We know that on the whole, most people are a lot alike. We also know that most groups of people aren't the same. You don't get one group of people and if either big groups or subgroups of people and say all those people are exactly alike. Except for maybe Marxists. No, I'm just joking. No, even Marxists are completely different. There's some that believe it one way. There's some that believe it another way. There's some that freaking believe that Marx was completely freaking peaceful. And there's others that actually read the Communist Manifesto that realize that there's a whole chapter to how to overthrow the freaking government. And it's not peaceful. But spoiler alert. But what we do know, everybody knows this now. There's no stereotype. There's no stereotypical group of people. You can say a whole group of people, or you can say a small group of people. They believe this one thing, which is the facts. But the reasons why they believe them can be completely different. They grew up different. They have different life experiences. They made different choices. They have different levels of intelligence. They have different levels of skills. No two people are exactly alike. So how can a whole group of people be exactly alike? Oh, wow. Have I ever been here? I don't think so. Here's some good stuff. So this is getting down to the points that I've been trying to make all night here. I'm getting close to the point, I think. Is that if in this day and age we know this, that it's just wrong to stereotype people. This is what Martin Luther King was talking about. He wants a world where his grandchildren can be judged by their character rather than the color of their skin. And he's not saying that the color of their skin was bad, which that's what some interpretations might think, probably more frickin' racist interpretations. What he was saying is that there's no reason to judge anybody by color anymore. So why even use the term Black Lives Matter? Like I said, I've said this a bunch of times. I understand the reasoning behind it, the concept behind it, because they're trying to emphasize that they think that blacks are being treated more unfairly than other races. I disagree with that. I don't think that any race is being mistreated anymore, unless you go to certain real racist parts of the South, maybe. Some places that have some freaking Ku Klux Klan members still alive and around, you know. But then on the flip side of that, you can go to some places in the inner city, all black neighborhoods, where they think just as badly of white people. You can go to certain parts of predominantly Mexican areas, which I've been around a lot because I lived in Fresno, California, which is 60% Hispanic. You can go to these places and find a lot of people that just hate white people, and other people, other places where they just hate black people. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that shouldn't be a thing anymore. We know better as a people, and especially the people that think that they're educated. I could actually see uneducated people thinking that way because they just aren't maybe around other cultures as much. Maybe they don't have the internet. The older generation definitely doesn't care as much about us. Younger generations do. But people like Black Lives Matter tend to be educated, the leaders of these groups, at least Black Lives Matter, any other groups, tend to be educated. So they should understand, they really should understand that the reason why past prejudices happen, past bigotry, past racial injustices happen, was because of uneducation and because of stereotyping people and saying all your race is bad, all of your group is bad, all of you are bad, you know? So how can they turn right around and say all cops are bad?
Put our faith in you, my lord.
Abolish the police. All the system. The whole system is bad. Throw it out, baby and all. Throw out the baby with the bathwater. Throw it all away, and we'll start over. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. Their motivations are not justice. Their motivations are not that they seriously think that all cops are bad and that all black people are oppressed. They know that there's black people that aren't oppressed. They know that there is white people that are, in their term, in their sense of the word, oppressed. I don't believe in that myself. I understand it, and I believe that a person can be oppressed. Individuals can be oppressed. I believe that whole groups of people can be oppressed in certain situations, like the Jews were completely and utterly oppressed during World War II and right before World War II. And that's systemic oppression. I don't believe that that's happening now. And I don't believe that there's any proof that that's happened any time in the recent past. So, if that's not true, and these are educated people that should know this shit, here's getting to the point. This is getting to the nitty-gritty of what I've been trying to say. They have ulterior motives. And what are those ulterior motives? Marxism, period. Plain and freaking simple. Marx is the one. And what's really funky about this is they keep... well, it was a white woman that came up with this whole whiteness thing. Well, I guess it was some black people. It was a thing in college now that they call critical theory, where they analyze microaggressions. They analyze all this stuff I've been talking about. They analyze it and try to figure out why it's the way it is. But the problem is they start these theories, these critical theories, with certain premises already in place, like patriarchy. And most of these premises that are already in place that they base all this stuff on are Marxist theories. Stuff that Marx came up with. So if black people, black educated leaders of these groups start with these premises, they call it whiteness. All these things are whiteness, and this is stuff that white people came up with, and this is why we got to fight against it. It's whiteness, patriarchy, and capitalism. Problem is, Marx was white. So if they believe in Marxism, they're also believing in whiteness. If everything that fucking white people came up with in civilization is considered whiteness, which it's not, because a lot of these theories that they keep coming up with, this whiteness theory, every other culture in the world has came up with almost the exact same things independently, without any help from white people. But if it was even true that white people came up with all this stuff, and they're fighting against it because of that, why wouldn't they be fighting against Marx? Because he was white. He was a German. He was actually a German, half Jew, half Lutheran. And he denounced all that and became an atheist. Although I heard that towards the end of his life, he was getting a little more religious tolerant. He was completely intolerant of religion most of his life. When he was writing all this stuff, he was intolerant of religion. So anything that had anything to do with Christianity or Judaism, during the time that he was writing all these economic theories, he threw out the window as bullshit.
Stand and fight!
Oh shit. Oh shit, I don't have my clothes on right. I think I can handle these guys. There's only an archer left.
Down!
Anyway, I don't understand why they come up with this Marxist theory in all this stuff, or they incorporate it in, because it kind of fits their narrative a little bit more, I think, that everybody was oppressed and there's a class struggle. From what I've been debating with some dude on the internet lately, that I don't understand the class, what Marx meant by class struggle, but I do. Okay, I need to go right here for a minute. But that's what all this boils down to, though, is that they believe in Marxist theory. They're so I don't even know if I come up with the right word. Whoa, shit. Over there. Get my gear.
Who will face me first?
Guys, is there going to be a tree in my way this time? Maybe not.
Samurai!
You'll be free soon.
What a relief. Thank you, Lord Sakai.
You're safe now.
I'd be honored if you had this.
Yeah. I don't know what I was actually trying to say. More that and like like I was trying to say before, it's not just Black Lives Matter. It's all of Antifa, which is turning into more of a LGBT trans activist organization. Seems like lately. I've seen pictures of a lot of these Antifa people from Portland, Oregon, and a lot, like the vast majority of them look like trans people. I don't know if they consider themselves non-binary or not, most likely because of some of the things that they say.
Who will fight?
But it's all the... There's all these different, like, identity groups. That's why I guess they call it identity politics. You got all these different identity groups that are somehow taught this shit in school. It's mostly younger people too, from ages of like 16, even younger. But I tend to think that people under say 16 or 17 are less likely to be activists. But say these, anywhere from there to about 30, 35 maybe. But these ones that are 30 or 35 started probably in their younger days. But I think they learned some kind of Marxist theory in school. Disguised as something else. Wish I knew, because I'm pretty sure, and from what I've heard, and read about what they're teaching in school nowadays, and what other things that they're trying to teach in school, that this shit has been going on for a while. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. So if anybody watching has kids still in school, or grandkids in school, or are in school yourself, be very, very careful and pay attention to what they're teaching your kids in school, or what they're teaching you. Main thing I could say is never, ever, ever take anything you hear, even what I'm saying right now, at face value. Even all this shit that I've been going on about for the last 2 hours, don't believe it until you have researched it. Look it up yourself. The internet's there. The internet's out there. The internet is at the tip of your freaking fingers. Look up stuff. I'm reading the Communist Manifesto right now. I was going to do some videos on it, but, and I've read parts of it here and there over the years. I've never read the whole thing cover to cover. I think it's important that I read it, since I'm talking against this shit. I figure it's really important that I read it, so I know, and I'm like I said before, I'm going to read it. I've been reading it with an open mind. I don't just want confirmation bias. I don't want to be so biased that I can't see.
Challenge me.
Something that I might miss by not paying attention or thinking a certain way. like I said, I never, ever, ever take anything at face value. Always be skeptical. Always do your own research. Always look up something. If something doesn't seem exactly right, it usually isn't. There's other things going on. And that's why this whole discussion that I've been trying to tackle right now came up in the first place, is that something is off with politics right now. And mostly on the left. The shit that's off on the right, we can see. The real main threat of the right now, the far right, the extremists, is racism. Real racism. Not freaking imaginant racism. Not microaggressions. Not you're racist just because you're white type thing. That you're part of the white supremacist, patriarchal, homophobic society. It's been oppressing women and races of all kinds forever. That's it just seems that okay, so that's what I was saying. You know, it's obvious what's wrong with the right. That's what I'm saying. It's out in the open. It's obvious that it's wrong to most people, at least. Any educated person or anybody with common sense, like I was talking about before about stereotyping people, everybody knows that that's wrong. That nobody of any certain group is exactly like the other groups. Stereotypes had they had reasons in the past, because it was more of a survival mechanism back in the past. Because if the majority of times you came in contact with a certain group of people, not just racial groups, but other groups as well, but the majority of times that your group comes in contact with another group, you have bad experiences with them.
Show me your skill.
Then you tend to write or understand these stereotypes. Wait, I didn't say that right. Hold on a minute. If every time a group of people come across another group of people, like say strangers, you have two tribes, same race, in the old days, like in tribal days. So my tribe comes across your tribe, and we have a bad experience. Maybe I think your tribe stole from us, or you think our tribe stole from you. You have bad experiences. People would, if every time that something like that happened, something bad would happen like that, people would stereotype the other group. Say this is the way they are. This is the way all of them are. And for all we knew at the time, that's how it was. It was a survival thing, because if you did run across that group of people, again, that other tribe, you wanted to be prepared. You wanted to, maybe you would give them the benefit of the doubt, but you would be on guard. That's what stereotype was. It was a sort of survival mechanism to keep you on guard, to make sure that you're not going to frickin' die from an encounter with something that you don't understand. So you have a little bit of understanding, which was the stereotype. It's just a small understanding of a larger picture. But now that we have the internet, there's no excuse for it. That's what I'm trying to get at. So back to the question. If these people are educated that are in these groups like Antifa, Black Lives Matter, frickin' progressives in general, why do they insist on stereotyping people? Why do they automatically go to the whole group is responsible for the actions of one person? When you treat people like that, they tend to group together by the groups that you're putting them in. That's another part of this identity politics thing. If you treat people like their whole group is bad, they have nothing to group together with the rest of the people. They do one of two things. They'll either group together with other people, or they will completely disown their own group. You know, if that's what the progressives, most white progressives, are doing right now. It's called bending the knee. At least that's what a couple different people that I've heard talk about it call it, bending the knee. If a group is telling you that your whole group is bad, you can either kiss their ass and agree with them, say, "Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that my people have done this to your people." There is no your people and my people. If you think about it anymore, we're all the same group. They're social groups, yeah. What's going on down here? What is this? Have I been here before?
Your deaths will never be forgotten.
Yeah. Anyway, so by like what I was saying is, though, is by stereotyping people into a group and saying all the people of this group are like that, you end up alienating half of them and subjugating the other half. You alienate the people. You create enemies. So all these, or there's a third choice. They'll be like me and just understand that it's all bullshit. So, but the main two things that are going to happen is that, yeah, you're going to subjugate. In other words, you're going to create a whole class of whiny people that believe that they're evil, and that they are sorry for it, and that they have been bad. And that they deserve whatever you freaking do to them. And you're going to create another group of those people that hate you for treating them like that. And they're going to group together and come after you. Like I said, there's going to always be the third people like me, the skeptics, that are going to understand that it's all bullshit and try to figure out why these people are doing what they're doing. And like I said, I'm pretty sure I understand why they're doing it. And if I haven't already said it, I have said it a couple times, but not exactly in these words. They're definitely trying to tear down our society. Oh shit, bear. No, it's the piggies. Come on. Where's the other ones? Damn it, I wasted. Oh, there they are! Did I get all three of them that time? Oh, he's running. They're deliberately trying to do what I just said. Split two groups of people up. Split whole groups of people up into two groups. And they want all these groups, not just fighting against the other half of their whole group, but against other groups also. They want total anarchy and chaos. And after we deal with each other, it'll be easier for them to swoop in and rebuild in their own ideas.
Send your best warrior. Hige samurai.
Is there another one? Why didn't I get... I didn't get anything off that? I don't know what just happened. In other words, I think I just got to the very crust of the issue right there.
The best day of my life, my lord.
Be careful up there.
I'd be honored if you had this.
I think I finally got to the... there it is. That's what I was looking for. I got to the main goal. Is they want... this sounds like a conspiracy theory, but why else is this going on? Why is the world in such a freaking mad turmoil right now? It's all part of a loose plan But the problem is that once it's over, so say it does happen. So say they get all people against each other, and they want to build up a Marxist system in the fallout of our society. You have dozens, if not hundreds, of competing groups of people, ideologies. Dang, there's a bunch of these over there. They all... Okay, so intersectionalism is also a Marxist idea, although he didn't call it intersectionalism. He said that if you get all types of oppressed people and put them together and they join together, they can rise up against the oppressors. But the problem is each group of oppressed people have a different oppressor. And so that's why they wrap it up into this big old bow of the straight, white, patriarchal, homophobic, blah, 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 right? They add it all into one big group. But the thing is you might have some people that are like homophobic or transphobic. You might have some other people that are racist. You might have some other people that believe that men are superior than women. You might have some other people that believe that whites are superior to other races. But it's usually never the same person, unless you just have one big old bigot. One, two, three, four, five, six, at least 6 people here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I count 7.
Чи харав уу? А? Юу ч биш бололтой. Тийм баха.
I'm going to try this double kill thing. Or can I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably try to get rid of 1 or 2 of these other guys first. I could probably do the double kill on the inside. Damn it, I should have went before these guys walked back. Are they still turned around? Are they looking for me? Screw it.
Just come here and fight. Хасил нэг ч хоёр хугалнаа. Тэр яаж ингэв?
Oh, shit. Anyway, okay, what I was trying to, what I was getting at there is that when it's all said and done and they freaking take control and try to please all the people that they were say that they were fighting for, each group have their own agendas. And they're going to fight amongst themselves to try to grab their piece of the pie. And what's going to end up in the end is something more closer to the Soviet Union than anything else. Or China. Or worse, Khmer Rouge, which was Cambodia after, in the 80s. A group called Khmer Rouge, they had this dude named Pol Pot, who was the leader, who had these weird freaking ideas, and they just like wiped out anybody that had any freaking intelligence at all, and tried to go back to like an agrarian society, like freaking farmers and stuff, and just average uneducated people. That didn't last too long. They got overthrown. But they killed off more than half their population before that happened. Got him. Anyway, that's like I said, that's the biggest problem with all of this, is even if they make it in the end and get kick the ass out of all normal people and try to bring up their own Marxist society, it's not going to turn out that way. It's never going to turn out that way, unless like a lot of these Marxists that I debated with were saying is that they believe that they need to do it democratically, and that way. The thing is they'll still, even if they do it democratically, they're going to end up having so many different groups. Frickin' Bernie Sanders just said that he wanted, and he's still a freaking congressman, so he still has power. He was just talking about, he came up with some proposal right now that he's wanting to freaking tax all the rich people, not just arbitrarily tax them. I can't even get that dude up there. Not just tax them on future earnings, but to tax them on everything that they already have. 60%. That's not going to go over very good. You know what I'd do if I was freaking rich and that happened? I'd move the fuck out of the United States. Take my business somewhere else. Put a lot of people out of fucking work, too. As the first question mark I've seen in a while, and it's right out there. This is going to be a hard one to get to. I think I might need some kind of grapple for this. Yeah, lack of an item necessary to complete this thing. Where does that take me? I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, that pretty much says it all, though, is that I'm not just coming up with this willy-nilly. It's not just a conspiracy theory. It's kind of a conspiracy theory, but I don't think it's an organized conspiracy. I think it's a lot of groups that are kind of putting up with each other because they have the main goal is to tear down society. Everything we ever knew about society, just tear it down. About civilization. And what's going to happen when that happens? Lots of people are going to get hurt. It won't be that. I think, like I mentioned earlier, the people that follow these people I don't think they actually even freaking understand the consequences. People that follow these people definitely don't understand it. That the only reason they're able to even think the way they do about it is because they live in a free society like this. Which is great, man. Don't let them think what they want to think. But when they try to push it off on other people, see, I can't. So it's like saying, it's like saying you have the ability to raise the rent of a bunch of poor people to a point where they won't be able to afford their rent. In other words, you're just putting them out on the street. You have that ability. You might have that right in certain areas if you're a property owner. You own a apartment complex or something. Does that mean that you will do it? You know, any property owner in certain areas is going to have the right to do that, but do they do it? Only the bad ones will do it. If you got an evil mind, a destructive mind, a freaking malice mind, then you might do something like that. But a normal person wouldn't do something like that. Or a greedy mind might do it. But I tend to think that that's not most people. You know what? Need to check something. What was I looking at before? Wanting this because I need way too much to upgrade this. That's fully upgraded already. Travelers. Yeah, that was it. Okay, I can do that. Okay, where am I right now? I want to come back to here. So, yeah. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, so the main thing that I don't really understand is why they would why would these people do this unless they are, that's what I'm trying to say, is if they
Something
are
for every type of armor.
what could be considered evil.
Nothing stronger.
Yeah, buddy.
Farewell.
In other words, they have to know what their actions are going to do. They have to know that.
Come, see what I can make for you, my lord.
In the end, well, I got 107 hides.
I hope it helps. That's all I can give you right now.
So all these are full, huh?
An excellent choice.
That is it, man. I think everything's full now.
I hope it helps. Until we next meet, my lord.
So yeah, like I said, they got to know that in the end, no matter what they do, the only path that this leads to is destruction. So why would they do it? And the only answer I can come up with is that they have to have some kind of evil mind or malice mind. They don't think like normal people. At least the leaders, the main leaders. Not all of the people that are in these groups. A lot of them are just following what they think is right because they hear things that sound good. And a lot of it sounds good on paper. I mean, Marxism itself, that's why it's so popular and why it has been so popular throughout the last 150 years, is that on paper, it does sound kind of good, you know. Everybody's equal. The people that own the businesses don't own them anymore. That we're all part of the ownership and all this stuff, you know. Thing is, to do that, well, like I said, it sounds good on paper, but doing it is a whole nother story. Yellow bird. Oh shit! Stand off. No, sneak past those guys. Where's the bird taking me? Where are you going? Did he just go back up? She just go back up? No. Haiku. Where? Where? Oh. Defeat. Stillness of one's mind. Resilient and strong. Pure of heart and soul. A lone pebble alters fate. Warriors fall, birth anew. Observe the coming future. I'll try this. Lone pebble alters fate. Rise from the depths. Grasp for a new life. Drowning and alone. I'll try the first one. Let's go back.
Pure of heart and soul. A lone pebble alters fate. Rising from the depths.
Headband of defeat. Yep. Wow. I got completely thrown off course, didn't I? Anyway, that's all. Only thing I can think of is there's got to be malice involved because they got to know the leaders. Like I said, at least the leaders, maybe not the followers, but the main leaders of these movements have got to know that it's not going to end pretty. That it's not going to end the way that they want it to end. They're smart enough to understand this shit. I would think, if they're educated enough. Which they say they are. Or maybe they're just delusional. Maybe it has nothing to do with malice, that they seriously are delusional and think that this is going to that this is going to be something good. So that's the only two things I can come up with.
Stay strong, my lord.
These guys are just having some tea in the middle of a bunch of dead bodies. Can't you like make your fire over there? Not right in the middle, or bury these dudes or something? Burn them? Throw them on a frickin' pyre? Or maybe it's me that's delusional. Like I said in the beginning, do your own research. Don't believe anything I say. Try to understand what I say, and then do your own research. There we go. I'm right in the middle. Okay, right up here. I'm hoping, though, that if you do your own research, you'll see that what I'm saying kind of makes sense. It might not make complete sense, but it kind of makes sense. And if these groups come to power, and it's getting more likely that it could happen, that if they come to power, they've already manipulated hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people to side with them, especially Black Lives Matter. And one thing that should tell you something about Black Lives Matter, there is a lot of black people that completely disagree with them. That no, I just watched a video the other day. This black guy, he's used to be a police officer for one thing. He was a police chief of Milwaukee, where all this shit, or no, Minneapolis is where a lot of it started. He was a police chief of Milwaukee, which is close. Milwaukee, Minnesota, Minneapolis, Wisconsin. Yeah, it's the same area. He was talking about it, and he believes exactly what I just said about Black Lives Matter, is that they're just communists. They're Marxists posing as activists. Well, I guess they're Marxist activists posing as black rights activists. Now, if you want to see the video I'm talking about, it's on PragerU. A lot of people don't like that because he's a religious guy, religious conservative that does a lot of conservative type stuff, and some of it's a little cringy, even for me. But a lot of his stuff really makes sense. It's not just him. He has people working for him that make these videos, and a lot of it makes a lot of sense. I like watching their videos. About once a week they come up with a really good video that makes you think, you know. You don't want to believe all of it, but you can pick out the bits of truth in it. Yeah, I've been talking about this the entire stream. The heck am I going? I'm going way past this place. So run around instead of over. Hey, another village. Same village. Damn it! I'm going back. I'm going backwards, man. Did I already try to get through this way and couldn't? Wait, how do I get down there? Hey, there's a fox tree. No fox. No fox to be had. I already did this one, didn't I? Well, that's the starting. What? I don't know. Tory Gates led to the stone shrine, sanctuary of, or the stone dragon shrine, sanctuary of Susano. Okay, so that is that one. I can't get to that one yet. See what happens if I bow in front of this. Nothing. What's going on down here?
Throw your blades!
Yeah, buddy. Oh, I still have 2 freaking things, man. Okay. Is that a bear? Do I have? Yeah, I have arrows. Anyway, hopefully something I said strikes a chord and anybody watching this now or later can check into this stuff, man, because if not enough people do something about it, we're all lost, man. For one thing, the best thing you could do is to make sure you vote. Especially for the politicians that you want running the country. And right now, I would normally say vote Democrat. And if you live in an area, that has some decent moderate Democrats, I would say go ahead and vote for them. But if not, and especially for president right now, and this is just my opinion, and I have never, ever voted Republican before, but my opinion is the only way to get this thing to to show them that this shit's not going to cut it. That we don't want to live in their freaking Marxist freaking dystopian future, is to vote for Trump. I don't even like the dude, man. He makes me cringe when he says some of the stupidest shit ever. But he's a businessman. He is not going to let these Democrats freaking win, you know? Oh, shit. He's at least fighting them every inch of the way. Trying. All these riots that are going on, he's tried to get the government, or the federal government, involved in it to stop this stuff. There are people. You got to think about this. There are people in these cities that Antifa is completely freaking destroying right now. The average people in these areas, in these cities, don't like what's going on. They're afraid to go out of their houses at night. And even in the daytime, they get freaking accosted and messed with. They can't do their jobs. They can't, and it's already hard enough with this freaking virus crap going on, that to be able to do a job. Right, these are not enemies, huh? Wish it would distinguish between them a little more. It has a white outline around these people, but they're kind of, in this light, they're kind of yellowish, which makes it look a little bit reddish, you know? Anyway. The only way that we're gonna, I don't understand why some of the politicians are doing what they're doing, unless they're truly Marxist. But I don't believe that somebody like Biden is Marxist. And now he's got Kamala Harris as his running mate. She's going to be the first black woman vice president, and if anything happens to Biden, she'll be the first black woman president. Well, not the first black, but the first woman president. You know how tempting that would be to some of these groups, just to get represented by a black woman as a president. Biden might not be too long for this world if he ever gets elected, because I'm not saying that anything would happen, but just think about how freaking crazy some of these groups are. Any group that's going to tear up their own freaking cities. And this is what I don't get. This is see, this goes back to my original argument, is I don't get how these leftists can do this. The Democratic politicians, the Democrat Democrat politicians can do this with a straight face. They say they're for the people and shit, but they're letting some fringe groups of extremists I can't get up. This is going to take a grapple also. I've noticed that every one of these places have these. I'm going to get some kind of a grapple later. See, they have these stumps hanging out. I have a feeling I'm going to need that. Anyway, they say they're for the people, but yet they bow to these fringe groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter is not really fringe lately, but they're still extreme. But how is Portland's government, their mayor, the governor, their city council, their state legislature, everybody, how are they letting this stuff happen? They can end it. They can crack down on these fucking crazies, man. They're betraying their citizens by doing this. I know that there's a portion of the citizens that are saying, I think it's a small portion. Relative. Okay, so say Portland has 1 million people. I don't know how big their population is, but it's the biggest city in Oregon. So, how are they not taking control of the situation? And why are they not? There's so many of these questions that freaking drive me nuts, man, that I can't seem to understand. It seems like common sense, man. They're so say Antifa members herself and the real Black Lives Matter, which I think Antifa's kind of co-opted lately. So say the actual members of Antifa in Portland make up 200 or 500 people, maybe 200, say. Say Black Lives Matter leadership there is maybe another 50, but then they use all these other people as pawns, saying, you know, that we're gonna fight for your rights and come out and protest with us. So all these people come out and protest with them and donate money to them, And so you get a couple thousand people out protesting on the weekends in the daytime, and on the weekdays maybe, you know, a couple hundred. Wait, where am I going? Okay, now this way. Okay, so say you got some people that...
My lord, this woman said she found a way off the island.
A way past the Mongol ships? Show me.
Of course. Follow me, my lord.
God, I started quest. Hope she's not leading me into an ambush.
If you look closely, you'll see my small boat and the route I plan to take.
There's no boat.
What's going on?
You had to ruin it, didn't you?
You're a liar and a coward.
What the hell's going on here? Who is she? Wow. Damn, how did she hit me? I freaking was blocking. Who is she? Damn! She's kicking my ass. Oh God, I'm hurt myself.
This is awful. Murdering the innocent.
Why was she... What was even going on here? I don't even know. That was just stupid. Anyway, what I was trying to say is that
Stand and fight!
if you put all those people together and then put a few people that believe that so you put together all the Antifa members, all the leaders of the Black Lives Matters. You put together the 1,000 or a couple thousand people that support them on the weekends, that probably don't really even know what they're really about, that don't really realize that they're communists.
You'll be free soon.
You put together some other people that might
My prayers have been answered.
Go
even
and stay safe.
I'd be honored.
even twice that much. Say it's even twice that much of people that actually would support them, even if they knew that they're communists. but they do it from behind the scenes and don't really come out. So you're still only talking, like, say 4,000 or 5,000 people at the most, out of a city of 500,000 to 1 million. I don't know how big their city is. So the vast majority, more than 99% of the people, are being betrayed by their government. Their government's not protecting them, and not protecting their businesses, not protecting their property. Their cars are getting vandalized, and now they're going out into the suburbs. You know, freaking Antifa members are going out into the suburbs and going to people's homes and attacking them. Wow, I'm way up here. So, so it's pretty crazy that the government is being like this about it. The government, if nothing else, the main, and to me, this is my view, complete view, is the government's main job. Oh God, this is where I was trying to get up before. I can't make it down here. The absolute main job of the government is to protect its citizens and property. From malevolent forces. So why are they paying taxes? Why should anybody in that city pay taxes? Why don't they fight against the government now? They should go and do peaceful protests against the government, against these other people, and say, hey, why aren't you freaking protecting us? Why aren't you doing anything? Why are you trying to defund the police, the only people that are around to protect our businesses? Well, although they're not doing it right now because the freaking government's not letting them. What the fuck? What was that? Who was talking? Anyway, these are my thoughts. These are the things that go through my brain every day. And I hear voices. Who was that? I could have sworn I heard somebody. Yeah, there's people. They're over here. There's my marker. There's the people. This is a whole camp. I'm not going to mess with these guys. It's just sad. Anyway, when I was younger too, this is another thing that gets me thinking about this shit. When I was younger, I used to think it was really, I've mentioned this before, I thought I was extremely lucky to be born in the United States. And especially when I would see all the shit on the news about other countries, shit that's going on. You'd see, what was that? You would see pictures in the Middle East and other places of war zones where they're having like civil wars. And Beirut, that was a big one back in the day when I was a teenager. I almost went to Beirut when I was in the army to fight. We at that time, it was in 1976 and 1977 and 78, where we were on alert at least 3 or 4 times, at least 3 times. I'd say alert is when we got all leaves canceled. Everybody is locked down at the base, getting ready to be deployed. And the destination was Beirut. That's where that big bomb went off last week. There was so much shit going on over there. And okay, so before that and after that, I look on the news and in the history books and everywhere else, and you'd see all this stuff happening in other countries in these war zones and all the craziness going on. And I would think, oh, how lucky I was to live here. And I never, ever dreamed. I mean, that was shit that happened in third world countries. That was shit that happened in countries that had no control over things, that didn't freaking treat their people good or anything. I never dreamed it could happen in the United States. I've never seen anything like that in the United States. The protests back in the 60s and 70s were by far peaceful. Like I said, there was a few exceptions, but that was few and far in between, you know. Then every once in a while there'd be some kind of a race riot, like Watts in 65, and then the Rodney King riots in 91 or somewhere around there. Then you had the Ferguson riots. These were all racially motivated riots, mostly black people in inner cities tearing up their own neighborhoods. This is before Antifa got popular. Now freaking Antifa has a freaking...
Bartela! Bartela!
No! Where's the other guy? Anyway, that's what worries me the most out of all this. Because shit like this shouldn't happen in the United States. We are... We are a privileged society that is privileged because of our way of life. It's because of the way our system is. And to fight against that is just insanity. I could see people fighting that, protesting that other countries aren't like this, and that they think that it's against those countries, not against our country. Anyway, I've rambled on too much tonight. My brain hurts. And yeah, this is a good enough place to stop. So I will be back. Let me get out of this place so when I log back on, I'm not in the middle of a freaking war zone. Anyway, back tomorrow night with Fallout 76 with Darcy and KingRat and maybe OcihEvE and whoever else is going to show up. And I'll be back with... Actually, I'm going to be back with this on probably next Monday. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I'm going to play The Last of Us Part 2. And then Sunday I'll be playing Fallout again. So it'll be Monday before I get back to this one. I'm not sure how I'm going to work this out. I might just switch this back to 2 days a week. And Last of Us 3 days a week. And Last of Us is going to be a little bit shorter in this game, so I'll probably switch them around halfway through. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, or I might just go back and forth again, starting next week. You know, Monday this one, and then Tuesday that one, and then Thursday this one, and then Friday that one, and then, you know, like I was doing last week. But we'll see. Anyways, till then, leave a like, share, subscribe, support my channel if you can. PayPal or Patreon, all in the links below. And Thanks for listening to my crap all night. I just really had to vent, I think. It's more of a thought process with me. Just, talking it out helps straighten it out in my head a little bit more. It was good therapy for me. Thank you for being my therapist. And maybe you learn something from it. Maybe it'll just make you think. Even if you didn't learn, maybe it'll make you think, or maybe it'll help you do some research on your own. All of that's good. That's good stuff. Anyway, thanks for sticking around, and hope to see you tomorrow. Adios.